Okay, that was the end of the TM session and got all the data that we need. So now I'm just going to run through the shutdown procedure, which is essentially the reverse of the startup procedure which you've got. And I'm going to just give some commentary, but I'm going to go about it as quickly as I can. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is follow the checklist. I'll talk us through. So I'm going to put the caps back on the binoculars. I'm not going to be using them anymore. I'm in diffraction mode, so I want to go back into imaging mode. So I'm going to get firstly I'm going to shut all the windows. So Control Shift Option W. I know I've saved everything, so that's fine. That clears that computer. Gun valve on, so I can see what I'm doing. And there's the seabird pattern again. So I'm going to get out of diffraction mode into image mode and diverge the beam. But I'm going to go to spot size 1 again. And I'm going to put the largest condenser aperture in and center it. And that's pretty good. And I'm going to give it a good bit of stigmation correction because it's quite stigmated. Okay. So I've just a nice beam. Everything back to 500,000 times. I'm going to move very approximately to the 0 coordinates so I can neutralize the stage. Okay, now converge the beam, go up to 500,000 times, follow the checklist. The first thing we have to do is turn the pumping station off because it takes a while to vent. So I'm going to just change the angle to look over there. That's the pumping station in the distance. The reason why I've still got the lights off is because I still need to do things with the beam and it's harder to see when the room lights are on. So close the valves, turn off the pumping station, wait for that to vent by itself, go back to the microscope. So what I need to do next is remove, spread the beam to the whole screen, which I've done. Switch the beam valve off, much easier to shut down. Cover the viewing screen. And now, turn the lights on, turn off all the alignment buttons. I can turn the lights back on again. Okay, now you should get a better view of everything. I'm going to retract the detector, listen for the sound. Okay, that sound came from outside the room, and that's the pneumatics driving the digital detector under the microscope back into its housing. If you're out there, it can give people quite a shock. So now that that's done, keep following the checklist. Remove the apertures. Haven't removed the condenser aperture yet. So the objective aperture is out, the selected area aperture is out, contrast aperture, condenser aperture, motorized apertures are out. Because what happens is when we bake off the cold trap, the cold finger, during the cryo cycle, what happens is that all the gunk that's condensed onto the cold finger will evaporate, and if it then condenses all over these tiny little apertures, you know, they're only a few tens of microns in diameter, then you'll make the apertures dirty, which means you won't have nice, clean, circular edges. And that means your optics are going to be terrible. So you must remove all apertures before you you bake out the cold trap. Okay, so now I've removed the detectors. I need to neutralize the stage. So I just double click on the stage neutral. The little engine in there starts to move things back to 0. I can see all of that going on this alignment screen, and that's fine. Okay, and specimen holder to single tilt type, and I'll just do that. And now I remove the specimen holder. Okay, just make sure that everything's nicely recording. Yes. So for that I need gloves. And I need to prepare the bench. That's the power cord for keeping my phone juiced up so that I could make this video. Open the hatch. Can you see that? No, you can't. But I just opened that. And now I'll just put on some gloves. Oh, this is miserable. When you've got sweaty hands like I have now. Ooh, they stick. Ah, that's better. Always a struggle to put these gloves on. Now I'm about to remove the specimen holder. So if there's an inlet of gas, I don't want to ruin the vacuum gauges. So I'm going to go into the little hutch here and switch the gauge readout down an order of magnitude in sensitivity. Now, just going to prepare the bench. Remove the chair. Open the cover. Unclip the cable that drives the tilts. Oh gosh, it's quite stiff. And now it's back to removing this. So now it's emitting dry nitrogen. And it's allowing the airlock to come up to atmospheric pressure so that I can remove it without air rushing in. Because if the airlock is still under vacuum, air will rush in as I try to pull this out. and it'll also be exceedingly difficult to pull it out against the pressure of the vacuum. Yes, pressure of the atmosphere. So now it's finished pumping nitrogen into the airlock. I can easily remove it. Put the specimen holder on its stand, little hutch. Close the cover. And the next step is to unmount the specimen. So in order to do that, I'm going to move the tripod. So now I've set the specimen holder up on its stand. I'm going to switch on vacuum tweezers. I've already got the lights on and the binocular microscope set up. We've got a new plastic screwdriver which Russell King has replaced. He's replaced the other one because that was quite difficult to use this morning. So I'm just going to unscrew that nice and gently. Minimal pressure. And the other screw as well. Nice and gently. Slot it in. Just seat it nice and gently. Cover it up with foil. Use the vacuum tweezers. I haven't been able to see how this filming has actually turned out, so it'll be very interesting to see when I cut the video together what it looks like. So, come on, nice. This little copper bracket has fallen in the wrong direction, not the direction I want, so I have to just leave it there. Now to put this in the back in the membrane box, you might not, this might be out of the field of view, but this is a little membrane box in which the specimen sits. I'm coming in with tweezers, get rid of that bit of filter paper, pick up the specimen with the vacuum tweezers, too delicate to pick up with normal tweezers. Maybe you can see it if I put that up there. Put the specimen in the membrane box, rest the vacuum tweezers, filter paper back over the top, and then we can close the membrane box. There, and that specimen can go back in the fridge where it belongs, because otherwise it'll thermally age. That specimen is actually from 2011, so it's 8 years old. Because we've looked after it very carefully, it has given us a lot of excellent data. Just putting the little beryllium washer back in its housing in the slot, and oh, this is fiddly work. Right, that's that. And now shutting down is always much faster. Now I just have to screw this up again. Just barely finger tight. Bit of a bounce on the fingers. Any more you'll wreck the tools. That's good. Nice cover up. I'm going to cover these tweezers with a bit of foil. Fresh foil. Stop dust and dirt getting on the tips of the tweezers. Helps reduce the threat of contamination. It can go undercover. And now we're ready to move the specimen into the pumping station. Alright, so that's that done. Specimen is unmounted. So, now I'm going to vent the pumping station. Out this hose, open the valve. And that's good. Take the blanking plug out, and then we place the specimen holder. No need for plasma cleaning because we're not putting a new specimen into the microscope. So now we can just place the specimen holder gently back in its housing. $50,000 worth of holder. So have to be super careful. Open up the valves, start the pump. And that's the specimen put away. I'm just going to remove the specimen holder stand to where it should be located, which is out here. Now I'm going to clean up the paper that I put down on the bench. Turn off the vacuum tweezers, turn off the light, turn off the internal light, shut the hutch, and that's the specimen done. Okay, now that we've done the specimen, it remains to fill in the logbook. Means I have to take a whole stack of readings. We used it at 200 kV. The dark current is 95.7 microamps. The emission current 112.7 microamps at the end of the session. I'm going to look at the vacuum readings. .4 for the end pressure. 0.1 for that end pressure, and 0 here. The finish time, always go off this computer, 16:19, which equates to exactly 8 hours this session took. So the logbook's completed. Now before I do the final stage, I'm going to transfer our data to the N drive. So I'm going to our folder, users. There we go, and here's the public storage. So I'm just going to put MTE, where is it? MTE 4598, mystery alloy. All of that's going into the online repository. It's 443 megabytes. I'm going to take the most important images, convert them into TIFFs for you, and condense everything you need into one folder to be put on Moodle. Okay, so that's that done. I can return digital micrograph. I can switch this monitor off, stop it from wearing out. And now the last thing to be done is the bake up of the cold finger. So in order to do that, I have to cover the screen and console with the plastic, because liquid nitrogen is about to erupt everywhere. It's quite a spectacular thing, if it's full, that is. So that's nicely covered. Binoculars gone. The main threat really is if liquid nitrogen lands on the viewing screen. Because this viewing screen is made out of a special type of high lead content glass, it's very susceptible to thermal shock. There have been many cases reported where people have been a little bit careless, a bit of liquid nitrogen flew onto this glass and shattered it. And that glass there is worth $10,000 a piece. So hence the care taken to protect everything. So now I've got to switch the iron gauge off. And I put this wacko looking device into the dewar, and this usually produces quite a plume of liquid nitrogen. So here we go. Oh my goodness. It's going. Okay, so there's a nice little fountain of liquid nitrogen going out there. A few little spits. And then we finish off by going to the maintenance panel, ACD and bake, and anti-contamination device heater on. Sends out a warning, please check the apertures are out, because you don't want gunk all over the apertures. They are all out. Helps to double check everything. Okay, and then you'll hear a sound of all the valves closing. Okay. And that's it. That's the end of the session. Thanks very much, and you'll be getting all of your data on Moodle soon.